Hi, in today's video, we are going to be going through an Azure Data Engineering advanced project. And in this project, we are going to be using the medallion architecture in our Databricks to transform data. So this is a high-level transformation of data where we are going to be getting our data from the source and then loading it to Databricks and then using the medallion architecture in the Databricks to transform our data. We're going to get our data into the bronze, silver, and the gold layer, and then we are going to transform the data and then turn the data to our Azure cloud storage. Yeah, and then the data will be ready for serving and you can connect it to Power BI. So stay till the end of this project and we'll learn how to do this. This is a continuation of another, well, I would not call it advanced project that we did, just getting the data from the HTTP source to Databricks and then to ADF and then to the Azure Synapse Analytics. This is a bit advanced where we are going to be also integrating to VS Code, and using DBT we are going to get our medallion architecture up and running. So I'm Simon Gugi, a data engineer, and I will be taking you through this video. So stay till the end to understand how to implement this architecture to industry standards. Yeah, so this is the architecture of our data engineering pipeline. Yeah, it's, well, not that complex. Yeah, very easy to do it. And we have our data in GitHub, and I'll be showing you the link to that data. Yeah, I will need this data as an HTTP source. Yeah, so this process, let me just mark here HTTP source, and then we're going to use ADF. This is now Azure Data Factory, and we're going to load the data into our first Gen 2, ADLS Gen 2, and ADLS Gen 2 will have the bronze, the silver, and the gold layer. Yeah, so I think what would have been added in this architecture is doing all this. I'll be using DBT. So yeah, so in the ADLS Gen 2 storage account, you'll be having these three layers. Yeah, and we are going to get data into a bronze layer, and then from there we are going to use Databricks. Then we are going to mount this data in Databricks. We're going to create a database in Databricks, and this database is what you're going to be connecting to externally to the VS Code. I'll be using VS Code as my editor, and I'll be using it to connect it to DBT. I'll be creating an DBT instance, and that's when I'll create the silver layer, and silver layer will be in form of snapshots. Yeah, as you can see, the data is in Delta Lake. I'll be using the packet format, and also we're going to be having the fact table. Remember, we have if you're modeling, you have the fact and dimensions. In the fact table, I'll be loading it into the gold layer. So this is the overview architecture of the pipeline. I hope we will learn a lot, and let's get right into the implementation. Yeah, so as you are aware, this is the Azure cloud interface. This is the UI, how it looks like, and some of the services. You have the storage account, which will be having our ADLS Gen 2. We have a resource group that like creates an umbrella of all the resources that we are going to be using and groups them to one. Yeah, we have other services such as the ADF, Azure Data Factory, Azure Databricks. Let me open it in another tab. I have factories. Yeah, so we'll get right into this. So I told you we're going to be getting data from GitHub source. Let's get to GitHub. Yeah, so and see what our data is. I don't know what's up with my Wi-Fi. Yeah, so this is my profile. data engineer. Yeah, most of the projects you can find them in my GitHub. Username is Stilinsk. Yeah, so here is the data. Oh, here is the data. So if I view the raw format, I want to view the raw format. So we have data that has product ID, then the date, then the customer ID, the company ID, units, product category, segment, manufacturer ID, manufacturer, unit cost, unit price, zip code, email name, city, state, region, district, country. Yeah, so you can see all that data we have. So let's get right into this project, and you're going to create a storage account. So this storage account is where you're going to create our bronze and silver and our gold layers. So remember, a resource group that has to be, it's an umbrella that you're going to create all our resources in. So I think let's create a resource group and I'll name it DBT YouTube. Links available. Yeah. Storage account name, have sales dataset, YouTube. Yeah. So the region is UK South. My service, I'm not saving standard, no. So the only other setting that you need for it to become ADLS Gen 2 is this hierarchical namespace. You don't tick that one, then it becomes Azure blob storage. Yeah, so make sure you check on that, and there the rest you can the rest are good. You can review and create. So depending on your Wi-Fi, take time. So we'll create. As it's creating, I think we can create the data factory. Yeah. It should be having a command deployment in progress. Yeah, it's good. So as it's deploying, let's get to the ADF. Azure Databricks service now on the ADF. Yeah, here it is. And yeah, create data factory. So the resource group has to be the DBT YouTube, region UK South. Yeah, and the name DBT YouTube also. Yeah, then git configuration, we don't need, that's, I think now here the settings remain default. It's complete. Go to resource. So we are back to the storage account. I want to leave this one, it's creating, so that you don't waste time. So we come and create, leave it deploying. So you come here to containers and we create a first container, we name it bronze. So we store the bronze layer, and come for here is where we create silver, and create the gold layer. So now until here we are done. We are almost done with the Azure with the Azure storage account, and now we'll go to the ADF. So remember the pipeline overview. So if I show you the pipeline overview, I have the image in the pipeline overview. It's here. Yeah, so we are ingesting data from our HTTP source, which is the GitHub, this GitHub, and then to ADF. Yeah, so let's get to that process. So let's go to ADF. So we're going to launch Studio. Azure Data Factory. In AWS, this tool is called the Glue service. It's similar to the Glue service. Yeah. So in AWS, that's similar tool that compares to it. And as it's launching, we're going to come to the Key Vault, data Key Vault. Key Vault will be the one creating a connection from the Databricks to the storage account. So get YouTube. Yeah. So Key Vault name is YouTube, also sales YouTube. And then the difference that you're going to come here, you're going to come to access configuration, and you're going to select Vault access policy. Yeah, so if you can edit the permissions that it has, the access policies. So you have the key permissions, the select permissions, the certificate permissions, and all these permissions that we need. So in AWS, it rivals to the IAM role, but here we have these. So if I would come here in all networks, tags, review and create. Yeah. So we'll create. Yeah. So the launch studio has not launched. I don't know what's up. I've launched already. Yeah. So yeah, it's good. So we're going to come here to Data Factory. So you have pipelines, you have monitor, you have the manage, you have the learning center. So very crucial. So let's come to pipeline and create pipeline. Yeah. So the pipeline is pipeline 1, and then you're going to come here. You're going to have copy and transform. Copy data. So we have the source, and we have the sink. Where is it? Has it gone to? Yeah. So the copy data, we have the source and the sink. So the source data set, I'm going to add it. So remember, we have data from HTTP source. So this will be the source. The data will be delimiter will be CSV. That's what I've selected. And link service, going to create HTTP server. So the base URL. So remember here, from the raw format is the URL. I'm going to be copying this. Yeah, and this will be the base URL. So authentication type anonymous. Yeah, and we are going to test this connection. I'm going to test it. It's successful, and we'll create. So we are going to have first row as header, import schema none. Yeah, and I'll say this as okay. The source is good. So if you can preview the data, so you can see there, you can see the data that was in GitHub. So now this data organized in a table. Yeah, so the sync. You'll add a sync and it will be ADLS. Sorry, Azure Databricks. No, it does not. And you're going to save it as a CSV in the bronze for now. And we're going to create a new one. So account key, so storage account name, Azure subscription, that one. So the storage account name will be that. So yeah, you just need to set the subscription and the account name. Test connection to link service. You're going to have the path link service. You're going to test the connection. Successful. I'm going to create it. Yeah, and so we are just going to the file path. It's the bronze. Yeah, so we're going to have it in the bronze layer. And okay, so we've already tested the two connections, the two linked service. Yeah, so in Azure, if you want to compare this to AWS, this the same like the crawlers. When you set crawler flow from S3 to Glue and the other one from Glue to Redshift, and you connect the two, so similar. So cloud is all the same. You just the UI that's different, and some technicalities, but it's good. So you're going to validate it. It has been validated, and you're going to debug it. So it should queue, and if it's successful, we should have our data in the bronze layer. Should have our data in the bronze layer. Queued. Yeah, it succeeded. Copy data, and we should come to our storage account and look at the bronze layer. You should see our data. Yeah, you've seen our data. It's available. So this our data. Yeah, so I think it's good. It's the pipeline is successful. Now if you come to our data here, so you can see now this one is complete, and we have our data in the bronze layer in our ADLS. So now what comes into place, we have Azure Databricks, and in this Databricks now, after getting the data from the ADLS to Databricks, then we're going to involve dbt that will be getting our data from Databricks to the silver layer and to our gold layer, now the transform data. Yeah, so very simple architecture. Yeah, that's definitely very key to implement. So go back. So we'll come to Databricks. Databricks had already opened a file, so we can see the key vault. Oh, the key vault should be complete. I saw red. So we're going to come to Databricks. Still not opened. So Databricks. Create Azure Databricks service. Create one. Yeah, and we're going to, it's the resource group is dbt youtube, workspace name is dbt youtube. Okay, the resource space here, UK South Premium, and the next one, next. Yeah, we just leave the settings as default, and it should run. It should run. Then you should create. So the deployment is in progress. Not resource, and you're going to launch the workspace. Yeah, so we're going to sign in. So in AWS now we have the Amazon EMR. Yeah, so let's create compute. Compute, this is the the engine that runs the Databricks notebook or the workflow that you're going to be creating. So it's a single node, and I want to name it cluster, just cluster. So single node, runtime, allocate resources, that, and going to allocate the 14.4. We're going to remove the photon acceleration. So I'm going to create the compute. Yeah, so as it's creating compute, as it's creating, so it will create, and it will show the status as running, but we create a workspace. Yeah, so workspace, going to create a folder. Let's call it what should you call it? Sales folder. Yeah, and sales folder, I'm going to create a notebook. What should we name it? Name it base notebook. I think so. Yeah. Notebook. Yeah. So let's see if the compute is created. Still creating. So as it's creating, let's create a secret key. So this secret key is going to connect the keyboard, that is the ADLS Gen 2 to the Databricks. So it tricks a lot of people how to create one, but I'll show you seamlessly how to create one. Yeah, so we have the backspace. So let's copy this. Let's copy. No, I think you should remove just this browse. Let's remove this browse. Yeah, and then you're going to add a hash key. I'm going to add a hash key. Add a hash key, and going to put secrets, and it will be create scope. Create scope. It should run. Yeah. Yeah, so we have the scope name, creator, the DNS name, and the resource ID. So you're going to need to create the DNS name and the resource ID to get the keys, connect that. Yeah. So we are going to just create a relationship between our keyboard, remember that we created, to our Databricks. Yeah. So let's come to the keyboard. So here, keyboards. I should open that in this tab. Yeah. So should come to resource one hours. We're going to come to secrets. I'm going to create one. Yeah. So I will name it. I'll name it secrets. Secret. I'll name it secret. Secret. Not an S. Yeah. So this is what you're going to use to access our storage account. So we are going to come back to storage account. Come to overview. What's happening? Storage account. Yeah. So I will come to access. Access keys. Yeah. So I go to show and copy. Yeah, and then come back to the storage. Yeah, so this will be our value. And that will be a value. Yeah, so I should leave the rest and create. Yeah, so you have a storage account key that you can use. Remember, the name is secret. Yeah, so you can see, so this will be what will be adding into our Databricks. Yeah, so we're going to need to get this key into Databricks. So let's come here to properties. Yeah, and we're going to copy the vault URI. Yeah, and this will be come back to our secret scope, will be our DNS. Yeah, so and now we'll need the resource ID, and it's currently here, resource ID, and should do resource ID there. Yeah, and the scope name is scope. Yeah, manage principal, all workspace users, creator. I'll give it the the all workspace user. Yeah, so I'm going to create. Yeah, so it should create. So we're going to go back to, it has been added, so we're going to go back to our notebook and see that's great. Compute. I hope by now it should be up and running. Given it enough time. Yeah, it's running. You can see the state is green. And recent notebooks. Yeah, so we are going to mount the our storage account to this. So it should connect faster. So we will be db utils first dot mount. Yeah, we'll have the source. So this will auto finish for me, to complete rather, not auto complete. Let me just copy paste this code. So this, when you want to mount, this is the code. So we're going to have the container name and the storage account name. Yeah, and here we're going to have the name of the storage account. So it's the container name rather, sorry. So it's the bronze, and here the container name is the bronze. The bronze. The storage account key name is the sales YouTube. Is that correct? I think that's correct. Sales YouTube. Copy, and it should come to a notebook. Storage account name. Yeah, sales YouTube. Storage account name. YouTube. .net. Then you're going to add some other things here that's this making it not complete. So details, secrets. Okay, so it's there. So the scope. So the scope name is scope, and the key secret. You remember, is name was secret. Yeah, and I hope this should run sensitive. Yeah, this should run. So you're mounting the bronze first. You're going to need to mount the silver and the gold. So you just mount the change silver, yeah. Yeah, it's good. And gold one, gold, and gold. Yeah, we will successfully mount all of them. Let's see if we can read the data. So DB utils, test less. I want the bronze one, sorry. And the bronze. Yeah, you can see it's reading the data. So yeah, we have an output. Yeah, and you can see that the connection is successful. So we are going to create a database here, and in that database is where we are going to load the data from. Since you've created a connection, we're going to load the data from the ADLS to Databricks. Yeah, so very simple command that I'll be showing you. So since you have already mounted, it'll be very easy, very easy. Yeah. Yeah, so this will be the code. Since we have, I've written this code previously. So since we have some data header, the header of data, the column names, there are some that have inconsistencies in naming. Yeah, so if you can see, it's the unit cost. We have a space in that table, and we are going to be transforming that now as you're loading the data to a database, and this will be the code I write. So from PySpark, from PySpark function support call, so it's completing auto completing. F equals back.read, yeah, so all what I want. Dot option header true, dot option in first schema I should load sales.csv. And then I'm going to add a function, yeah, to remove the invalid characters in the table names, the table header. I've done there. So yeah, and we are going to create a database which does not exist. Of course, it does not exist. Yeah. So it's, yeah, and going to come here. Yeah, and so as you can see, we have removed the invalid namespaces, and we create a database does not exist, and we are going to overwrite that data from the ADLS Gen 2 to our database that we are creating in Databricks. Yeah, so yeah, so let's run this. Yeah, and it should, so that does not exist, so we have sales.csv. Oh, so we did not, so I can see the error. We never named this as we are creating the ADF. Yeah, it's the ADF. Never named this. So, so do we change this or do we create a link, another link service? So, I want to create the sync and create new and DLS Gen 2, continue, CSV, link service, new, and subscription, it's the students, storage account name, sales YouTube. We should test this connection. So you should create these pipelines and gather enough practice. You can debug any error that you come across when creating. Yeah, so the file system goes the directory and the file name is sales.csv. Okay. Schema import. Okay, none. Import schema none. Yeah, so you should validate and debug. We have a file name called sales.csv. Build and see, and it should have success as the status of this implementation. It runs, yeah, it succeeded. Welcome to containers, come to bronze, and you have the sales.csv. Make sure it has now this, so sales.csv. Now we should run this code. Python file responses. I want to mount again. It should run right away. So we have the sales.csv here. That does not exist. So let me remove this file. Delete. Successfully deleted. So if we could run this, we have the sales.csv here. Aha. Okay. So we have the okay. Yeah. That does not exist. DBFS mount. So what is the error here? This is the data. So I can see. Oh, okay. So it should not include the DBFS. It's the load. Okay, so I think it's running. Yeah, so yeah, it's the Spark job is implementing, and yeah, wait for it to run. Yeah, it's successful. Yeah, so it's successful. Let's come to our catalog. You should see our database. Yeah, we have a database, sales data, and it has the sales.csv. If you could give a preview and see that all the data has been loaded. Now we have our data in Databricks. Yeah, you can see our data is now in Databricks. So you can see we have the outline. So if you come back here, you can see that now this step is complete, and what we have now is to integrate DBT to work on creating the silver layer and the gold layer, and we'll be done with this project. Yeah, so we'll come to DBT. I think since I've already done this project. No, let me do it again. Yeah, for all of you to really understand. I'm in my documents, create a folder. Let me create it DBT. Yeah, so come to command prompt. Open. I'll come to documents and DBT. I'm going to open VS Code. Yeah, yeah, it should open. No, it's not opening. Yeah, it's open. So DBT. Yeah, so DBT, and I'm going to terminal, new terminal. Yeah, so I'm going to create an environment called Azure. virtual environment. I'm going to be using the CMD. So I'm going to create the command, so Python env. So the name of the environment will be Azure. Yeah, and it create. It has created, as you can see above. Yeah, so it should. Yeah, we have the environment, as you can see here. Giving a command here to activate it. It's not activated. Maybe I could just get another window. Into much of my time. So we're going to activate this. So it'll be Azure Script activate. Yeah, so you have activated the virtual environment. So you're going to connect it to our Databricks, and yeah, so pip install dbt Databricks. Yeah, so wait this command to run. And meanwhile, I'm going to go back to Azure and create an access token for this account. This will be required. So you can come here to settings, then developer, then access tokens, manage, generate new token. So it's for dbt, generate, and you need to save this because you won't find it again. Yeah, so I will save it somewhere. It on my notepad. Yeah, so there, my notepad. We're done. Yeah, so come back to Azure. I hope it has installed dbt Databricks, so it's still loading, still installing. Yeah, so we are going to also install the Databricks CLI, so to ensure that our system connects to dbt and the Databricks. I'm going to use a package released by Databricks team. So we are going to install the Databricks CLI. Yeah, and this will allow us to have access to Databricks from my system or my PC. Yeah. Yeah, it's good. Just run. That's all the CLI. Yeah. So we're going to configure the Databricks to my system. Yeah. So we're going to have Databricks configure token. Going to remember I've told you to make sure you create this access token. Configure token. I hope I'm getting this right. Yeah, so I'm going to create the host. So the host of Databricks is this guy. This from the net to yeah, yeah, that's our host. Come back. So these are hosts. Yeah, so can remove the backward slash. Yeah, and we have the token. Remember the token that we have here. We save this one here. We create the access token. So copy. We'll come here and paste it. Yeah. So I want to see if I have the access to my Databricks. Let's see if I have it. So Databricks. So this is just like to test if you have really connected to your account. So list scopes should be successful. Yeah, and successful. It has connected to if it gives it has given the scope. So remember I created a scope key, the name was scope, and you see the keyboard URL. So this was the in the scope key. Remember we created the DNS. Yeah. So let's see the final connection Databricks, and it should be FSLS if I'm not wrong. We should see where our data is stored. Yeah, so you can see our data is good, and so automatically you can see that our data it's connecting to Databricks. So now we need to create a DBT instance. So we'll be saying DBT init. DBT init, create a DBT instance. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah. Okay, so it should create one. Not sure why it's delaying. Yeah, so enter name our project. I'll name it YouTube. Is that YouTube? No, YouTube is the name. So enter number. So you can see I've created a DBT instance. So enter number. This will be Databricks. Yeah. Select one. So so I'm going to wait this. Let's see what next. Yeah, so I don't know why. Yeah, the host name is remember we click this without an underscore without slash. So copy this, come to here and yeah, that's our host, and the HTTP path will come to compute cluster. They're going to come to the advanced section, the JB TDC connection. This is the HTTP path. Yeah. So path, come back to yeah. So yeah. So we're going to use the access token. So remember this access token is very, very key. So we have used it twice. So connect this. going to have that copied, and we're not going to use the Unity catalog too. Yeah, and the schema, remember we have created schema. Yeah, we named it, so you should look at it. So come here, look at our schema. So as you can see, our schema is called sales data. So it should be sales data. That's one. Yeah, so we should move to cd YouTube directory, and we should run ubt debug. Yeah, so hoping this should run. Yeah, and you have the profiles.yaml, the dbt projects YAML, and the gits connected, and all checks are passed. So very good. So we'll come to as you can see the data. Let me take you through the thought process first before any modeling. Yeah, so I'll create data in snapshotting, and we have the customer data, and the customer data will have customer table rather. As a model will have the customer ID, it will have the email name. So I'll show you this. So this is the data that belongs to the customer. It have this email name, it have the district, it will have the city, it will have the state, it will have the region, yeah, and the country, and the zip code. Yeah, the zip code, all information relating to the customer. And the date column, we're going to create a date column that you're going to want us to separate all the dates, and we create a date ID. You're going to have the date, and you're going to create a sales date, yeah, for this. Yeah, and the products .sql, you're going to have a product ID. Let me show you where that is. Product ID, the first column, and we have the product name, we have the category, and we have the segment. Yeah, so since this is data that can change, we will need to create this as snapshots. So remember, if we have learned of slowly changing dimensions, we're going in this project, we're going to be learning of SCD type 2. Yeah, and come here to, let's come here first to models, and we are going to delete this. And to delete this, and also this, delete this, and in our dbt projects.yaml, we're going to change this since we don't have any model called example. Yeah, so I just copy this. Yeah, so I just create snapshots, and I create the first one is the customer.sql, then yeah, customer.sql, another one is the date.sql, and the other one has to be the products.sql, product.sql. Yeah, so in the customers.sql, I'll have this. So creating the customer snapshot, and the root, we're going to save it into the silver layer, and it's the bronze, and it's in the customer file. It will be called a customer. Yeah, and see the format that you're saving it is delta. If you can see the layout of our project, sorry, layout. This was in Delta format and this was in Delta format. You can change this to Parquet. Yeah, if you are working with big data, much data, and you want to save costs in accessing the data, then you will need to change the data format. Very fast in retrieving data and saves on costs. Yeah. Yeah, so from sales data.sales, so we just need to create a source.yaml. So this is the source. We just need to create that. So let's first create the data.sql. Yeah. So the data.sql and the product.sql. Yeah. Product SQL. It's the SQL. That's not the SQL. And in our models, here in our model folder, where is the model folder? Models. We create a file called source.yaml. Sorry. Source.yaml. So we are going to copy this. We just copy. Yeah. So we just copy this and looks for data freshness. If you are adding new data, we're going to incorporate that. Yeah. So if you want to look at new data that has been added, it creates a one after, and if now data has come after a whole day since. So let's say if this is a sales data, so let's say it's a shop, and we have a whole day that we have not made sales, so it will bring an error. Is it that the sales we are not making, or is it that our database is not recognizing that we are making sales? So we are going to save all. Yeah, I think I should also have the dbt packages.yaml. So let me come to, where is that, YouTube, create the packages.yaml. Packages.yaml and first install this. Yeah, first install this. Yeah, so in save all, I'm going to have dbt deps to install the packages. Yeah, deps to install all the packages. And that's run. And dbt snapshot. Run the snapshot. That's the snapshots that we have created. It depends on the model. Okay, so it's okay, okay, you can see as one, but .yaml, so I should have deleted this. This is an error, but yeah, I think it should have deleted the example. That's why it's bringing the tests. Yeah, so but you can see our snapshots have been created: the customer snapshots, the date snapshot, and the product snapshots. successful, and we should see them in our Databricks. Yeah, should have another schema. Should have another schema definitely. Yeah, and you can see the snapshots. Yeah, so it's successful. So you have the customer snapshots that has the, so you can see sample data. So you have the customer ID, email, district, city, state, region, country, zip code. We have an ID. We have updated at and updated from and valid to. So if we ever change this data, if we ever change the name of the customer ID or the email, so it will just create another ID and to create another DBT valid to. So it will have a date here, the one that's ended, and to create another new one, and the DBT valid to will be blank. So this is the SCD type 2, very effective. Yeah, so you come to the date snapshots. So we have the the date, the sales date, and we have the ID updated to, updated from, product snapshot. We have still that. Yeah, so we should look, have we loaded the data into our containers? So that's key. So you have the silver, and is our data available? Is it? And yeah, yes. So we have the product data, we have the product snapshot, we have this our data. So as you can see, it's in Delta format. Yeah, you can see silver layer. So you can see the customer snapshot. Yeah, and you can see the date. Make sure of the date of the date. Yeah, and then first we confirm that we have completed there, and you can see data has been added there. So you can come here to the project outline, and you can see now this project is up to here, it's done. So it's success. Yeah, so you have all the data in the silver layer, and the gold layer will have the data that we need for the computation or all the aggregated data. Yeah, and we'll need the, mostly it comes to the numerical data that we need, like the price, the combined sales, yeah, to do aggregations, and that will be going into our fact table, and that will be going into our gold layer. Yeah, so remember, if you're modeling, you have the dimensions and we have the fact table. So these three tables will act as our dimensions, and the final table will act as our fact table. So let's go back to the the project, and we'll come to the models, and we create one models. Here we name it fact folder. Facts, and for file name fact dot fact.sql. Yeah, and I will paste this. Yeah, so we have a table and should be in data format, and look at here, we are going to load it in the gold layer. Yeah, so we'll name it sales. So come here, just an adjoin, creating a join from all the tables. Yeah, as you can see, it's an inner join of all the tables. Remember that we have created an ID for all tables, so it's very easy to get the customer ID, product ID, the date ID, the sales ID, the unit cost, and the unit price, and the campaign ID for all of them. Yeah, so we're going to select distinct all of these, and we're going to join the table, product ID, and the customer ID, and then we get the data from all those three. And from there, we're going to create a documentation. Since we want to create a documentation for this data, yeah, we're going to create the documentation for this, and this will be in the schema.yaml. This is basically just dictating what really goes into this column, what is this data about, just a description. And in this we can have some tests. So if this data in this column is not equal to this data, if let's say in this column these are the only allowed data, so if we have a column for regions, so we can dictate that column for regions will only have the north, south, west, and east. So if it has any other data that will be put into that data set, you have to reject that. So we'll also come here to fact and no, models, and you'll have the schema.yaml. And we'll have the schema.yaml, we'll have this here. So you can save this, save all, and run dbt tests. Yeah, so it'd be good. We have some few tests that you're going to see. They're going to see if they're successful. Yeah, so you need to implement these tests periodically. If they're not successful, then what do? You reject, and you reject the quality of the data. So remember, the basis and of clean model, clean pipelines is clean data. So if it fails the data quality tests, then it's wrong. So we have the has one dbt error. So dbt expectations text table count error dbt expectations equal to okay error count equal to other table facts customer. So it's the error the spelling. So I think I'm not going to debug this. So it's this here equal to other table. So the name is fact and customer snapshot. So what's the name of this fact sales? So with fact sales, you can see here snapshot. So I think that's just the naming conventions. Sorry. Come back to schema.yaml. Model is fact. Other it's good. Top fields exists. So I'm just going to ignore this for now. I think I'll come to the debugging later. Yeah, but you want to run this dbt run, and it should create the fact cells in our gold layer. Found 3 snapshots, 1 model, and 4 data tests, and 1 source. One of 1, so it should run, and it's okay. Yeah. Whew. So we can see to go back sales YouTube, you can see containers. We should load data in our gold layer. We should have data. Yeah, we have sales fact, and yeah, this data in delta format. If you come to the Databricks, yeah, this should be running, Yeah, sales data default snapshots. Yeah, we can see it's still good, very running, still running. And you can see our data we have loaded, and we can see that now our data is in the code layer and it's complete. Yeah, so that brings us to the end of this project. I hope you have learned a lot. You have so much to practice and learn also. Yeah, so this was a sample project in which we implement dbt in cloud in Azure. Yeah, so I hope you have learned a lot. So please like, share, and subscribe. Share with your friends, learn and repeat. Yeah, my name is Simon Guge on LinkedIn. You can connect with me if you have an issue with your project. Yeah, till next time. Bye. Thank you.